So let's talk a little bit about the Winter Haven Tech Council.
Yeah,
We got to get that in there.
you
We
bet.
have to talk about that. That's, I think, a passion project for both of us. So kind of where did the idea on your end come for the Tech Council?
Yeah, a couple of key, I think, moments, pivotal moments in that process as well. First, being in the data center business and quite frankly, never having been formally educated at all on anything data center, but then quickly being asked to take over that asset, um, made me want to go out and be around people who were in that market space that were willing to teach me some things. I can start to learn who the different players were. And so I very quickly, went to my CFO and asked for some funds to become members of different data center and technical councils, both in the Tampa and the Orlando market, and spent probably the better part of 10 years, in and out of different groups like that.
Right.
And I did. I learned. I met a ton of great people, incredibly skilled experts in their own right in each of their disciplines. But I always found it to also end up being a place where like exposure of where you may be struggling with something was not welcomed, because
Right.
weakness in tech meant an opportunity for someone else in the room to talk to others about that weakness and their weak in your position in the market, because it
Right.
was everyone there in some way might compete, not heavily, but we were probably all in the same market. There's only so many
Right.
opportunities to colo in Central Florida. um, and so that was one thing I missed, because I knew we had this collection of really intelligent people in the room, and why aren't we taking advantage of maybe crossing over some of that experience? So I never really got that. And then the second thing is really, I think, from the funding source of membership that they had used, the way they monetized their specific councils, it became very sales heavy. Now, I loved being presented with what's coming up new on the Cisco UCS
Right.
platform and what's happening in Emerson's new HVAC module controller alert system. It was great to learn all that stuff, but it always came at a cost of, for the next 6 or 7 weeks, getting hammered with phone calls and emails about when can I come meet with you about spending money you don't have,
Right.
or don't need. So that's okay, and I don't fault that system for that way. It's a great way to network. It just wasn't really fulfilling, the total need or total desire that I had in it. So that's really where it started. Is I wasn't able to be around the people that would kind of share that same desire and likeness that I had. Then when I came here to Inland Fiber, um, Hip Neugen, who's the smart city director or executive director for the city of Winter Haven, he and I had met, and out of the blue, he says, "Hey, is there either something I'd like for you to help me with, if it makes sense?" I mean, I don't know if it'll make sense or not, but he used to have a steering committee for his IT smart city initiatives, to where these business guys would all come together, not that often, but come together, and he'd kind of tell them what they were doing, and they'd say, "But that really, wow, that makes a heck of a lot of sense, and we'd kind of like to use that stuff in our own commercial stuff," or
Right.
"It makes sense for the city, but it doesn't make sense for me," but just kind of speak into him, maybe give him some ideas. And he said, "Would you be willing to help me kind of put something like that together?" And I said, "Well, it's funny you should say that, Hip, because I've kind of wanted to put together a group, just generally, not even just as a steering committee, but a group of technologists to get together and kind of share where we are and what's happening in the market, and how can we help the city? How can we help each of our individual organizations? Are you doing something my company needs, or are you doing something one of my
Right.
customers need? And I didn't know to refer you, just all that kind of good stuff." So I said, "Hip, would you help me get something like that going?" He said, "Absolutely." And so that was like, wow, there's someone else interested in doing something like this. And I just started talking, and I think that's ended up how you and Allison met, and then you and I met. Um, and I just started asking someone like, "Hey, I'm trying to put something like this together, and hopefully I can get 4 or 5 people, and we could sit down maybe quarterly or whatever, and have a bite to eat and maybe a drink, and just talk over where we want to go and do that kind of stuff, and it'll organically soon grow." And as you can attest, the the attraction to whatever it is we're trying to get done there, and bridging the commercial community need and delivery and support those systems, and really gain some initial benefits to our county and our state, was a lot more attractive to more people than I thought. So it's
Yeah.
taken off. Very excited about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.